Hi, everyone. My name is Fernando Forattini. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at Dublin City University, focusing on sextortion and the role technology can play in mitigating it. And today I'm going to talk to you about the relationship between technology and the fight against corruption. It's going to be a brief presentation. It's impossible to cover all the topics that we can talk about technology, the role technology plays, but I'm going to try my best. So, as technology continues to evolve, it's becoming more integrated into our daily lives. It's crucial to understand how it can be a powerful tool to fight corruption, but also how can it be used to perpetuate it. Corruption, simply put, is the abuse of power for personal gains. It can take many forms, such as bribery, embezzlement, fraud, extortion, and many other forms of power exploitation. Corruption undermines trust in our institutions, distorts markets, and holds back economic progress. But it also, we cannot forget, disproportionately affects disadvantaged and marginalized communities, hindering social progress and deepening inequalities. Technology is changing the game in many ways, right? It's making a big impact on how we govern, how our economy function, and even how we interact culturally. It can empower communities, make communication easier, and speeds up innovation. But it also has its downsides. Technology can widen the gap between different socioeconomic groups, uh, can exacerbate social divides, and influence public opinion through spread of misinformation and fake news. So it's important to understand that technology isn't neutral. It's not just a tool. It's a powerful force shaped by people and ideologies behind it. The creation and deployment of technology are driven by various ambitions, purposes, and biases. In a world increasingly defined by technoculture, which is a society deeply intertwined with technological advancements, technology shapes our behaviors and social structures. This power, significantly influenced by the spread of information technologies, reinforces and reshapes existing norms and social structures of dominance and exclusion. Thus, how technology impacts issues like corruption depends a lot on the social and economic systems in which it operates. Sometimes the very systems meant to help can end up being manipulated for corrupt purposes. So today, I'm going to explore with you both sides of this. We're going to look at how technology is it's being used to fight corruption, making processes more transparent and accountable. On the flip side, we'll also be seeing how these technologies can be exploited to engage in corrupt activities. By the end of this talk, I hope you have a well-rounded understanding of this issue and why we need a balanced approach to using technology in the fight against corruption. So we'll start by looking at the positive impacts of technology in fighting corruption with some real-world examples and some case studies. So part one is going to be technology fighting corruption. A brief historical overview is that technology has long played a role in facilitating government transparency and fighting corruption. In the early days, basic tools like papers and ledgers were used to document transactions and government activities. The advent of digital technology brought significant improvement, allowing for more reliable data storage and easier access to information. In the 20th century, in the late 20th century, the introduction of computers and the internet revolutionized data management. Governments began digitizing records, which made it easier to track and audit not just financial transactions, but also public records, public services, and other forms of official documents. This digital shift helped reduce the opportunities for corruption by creating a more transparent and accessible record across various government institutions. For example, the introduction of electronic government platforms allowed for the digital management of public services. Citizens could now access these services, such as renewing licenses, paying taxes, and registering business online, reducing the need to face-to-face interactions that often provide opportunities for bribery and favoritism. In Estonia, the Estonia initiative transformed the country into one of the most advanced digital societies in the world. Through their e-government services, citizens can actually do any digital services or any services needed from the government, so as voting, access health records, filing taxes, ensuring that the government is way more transparent than others, reducing bureaucratic inefficiencies, and minimizing chances for corruption. In the United States, for instance, the Freedom of Information Act was enhanced with online portals that allowed citizens to request access to government documents electronically, making the government activities more transparent and accountable to the public. However, it's important to recognize that digitization alone does not guarantee transparency or eliminate corruption. For instance, Brazil's transparency portal, which is internationally lauded, has faced issues with inconsistency and selective disclosure of information. Well, this is important to highlight because it shows that governments can still control what information is disclosed, and a lack of comprehensive data can undermine the effectiveness of such programs. So as technology advanced, so did its application in combating corruption. The development of databases and information management systems allowed for more sophisticated forms of tracking of government activities and the flow of public services. This led to the creation of early anti-corruption tools that could monitor and flag suspicious activities across different sectors. So we're going to look at modern advancements now. In recent years, we have seen some amazing developments in technology that are really making a big difference in the way that we can fight corruption. Big data analytics, artificial intelligence, and blockchain technologies are at the forefront of these innovations. So what is big data exactly? It's a huge amount of information that's generated every day from various sources like social media, public records, and digital transactions. This data is so vast and complex that traditional data processing tools cannot handle. By diving into these massive data sets, governments and organizations can spot patterns, trends, and see that what signals can be analyzed and foreseen for corrupt activities, for instance. For example, by looking at public service records and official documents, they can find hidden relationships and anomalies that might otherwise be missed. But how do governments manage to analyze such vast amount of data? Well, this requires a significant investment in technology and infrastructure. Advanced analytical tools, powerful computing systems, and skilled data scientists are essential to process and interpret big data. This can be extremely cost-intensive and may require ongoing funding and resources. Moreover, there are challenges like data privacy concerns, the need for standardized data formats, and the potential for information overload. But despite these drawbacks, the benefits so far have been overwhelming. AI and machine learning takes a step further in big data analytics by using algorithms to learn from data and make predictions. AI is basically about making machines smart enough to carry out tasks that typically require human intelligence. Machine learning is a part of AI that allows computers to learn from data without being specifically programmed to do so. These technologies can analyze data super fast, pinpointing potential corruption risks in real time. They learn from past data and get better at detecting corruption over time. AI can be used to keep an eye on public service delivery, procurement processes, and the issuance of official documents, making everything more transparent and efficient. For instance, automated detection systems use machine learning models to analyze procurement processes automatically. This model generates risk scores on the likelihood of receiving complaints, which helps prioritize procurement need more thorough review. This enhances the efficiency and effectiveness of regulatory processes. AI can also analyze publicly available government data to identify irregularities or signs of corruption, such as unusual patterns in public procurement for contract allocations. Platforms like India's iPaidAbribe.com collect citizens' reports about bribery incidents, which AI can analyze to identify hotspots, for instance. It's a possibility. Additionally, AI supports top-down efforts by governmental bodies to scrutinize internal activities, improve regulatory compliance, and detect corruption practices within public administration. For instance, in Brazil, the Department of Research and Strategic Information uses AI to calculate corruption risk scores. Also, AI can help civil aid society and civil-led anti-corruption initiatives by flagging high-risk areas and promoting transparency through public disclosure of corruption cases, as seen with Dozorro portal in Ukraine. However, implementing AI can come with serious challenges. Governments often need substantial expertise and resources to develop and maintain AI systems. This might mean relying on external vendors and AI solutions, which can be costly and also raise concerns about data security and privacy. Additionally, there is the risk of algorithm bias, where AI systems might unintentionally favor certain outcomes based on the data they were trained on. So it is very important to ensure that AI has to be extremely transparent, and also it has to prevent new forms of bias and inequality. Blockchain is another game changer. So what exactly is a blockchain? It's a decentralized and unchangeable ledger for recording transactions and other important data. Imagine a chain of blocks where each block contains a list of transactions. Once a block is added to the chain, it cannot be altered without changing every subsequent block, which requires the consensus of the network. This makes blockchain incredibly secure and tamper-proof. It ensures transparency because everyone in the network can see the transactions, but the data is also encrypted, highly encrypted, to protect privacy. Blockchain can track flow of funds, public service transactions, smart contracts, authenticity of official documents, ensuring they reach the right people without interference from corrupt intermediaries. It is already being used by various entities to secure transparency and security. As I said, the Estonian government uses it. Also, banks such as JP Morgan and others are using blockchain to streamline and secure financial transactions. And also, very interestingly, the United Nations World Food Program is using blockchain to distribute aid to Syrian refugees, ensuring that funds are used as intended. However, it comes with challenges as well. It requires significant computational resource and energy. And especially with problems of global climate, this has become a serious issue for blockchain. Setting up a blockchain system can be complex and expensive. There are also concerns about the scalability of blockchain networks and the potential for regulatory and legal issues. Finally, technology has also given power to people. Platforms that let citizens report instances of bribery or fraud anonymously have become vital tools in fighting corruption. These platforms can cover a wide range of corrupt practices, from financial corruption to the misuse of public service. Open governance initiatives leverage technology to make government activities more transparent and accessible to the public. By providing online portals where citizens can access information about government spending, legislative processes, and public services, this initiative fostered great accountability. Also, citizen reporting platforms like India's iPaidAbribe, as I said before, can collect these reports, individuals about bribery incidents, and even with some flaws that I pointed out on Brazil's transparency portal, this portal is an international case study of success because it allows citizens to track federal government expenditure in real time, promoting public oversight and reducing the opportunities for corruption. In addition to reporting platforms, open data initiatives make government data freely available to the public. This includes information on public spending, procurement contracts, and government budgets. And by analyzing this data, journalists, researchers, and civil society organizations can uncover corrupt practices and hold officials more accountable. Furthermore, we have social media and mobile applications that have become powerful tools for transparency and citizen engagement. These platforms allow citizens to share information and mobilize support for anti-corruption initiatives. For example, social media campaigns can raise awareness about corruption issues and pressure authorities to take action. On a global scale, technology had helped countries to work together to combat corruption, financial crimes, and money laundering related to, for instance, terrorism. Organizations like the Financial Action Task Force are key players here. They set international standards and promote effective measures to fight money laundering and terrorist financing. The Panama Papers leak in 2016 showed how wealthy individuals and public officials used offshore tax havens to hide assets and evade taxes. The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists used data analysis tools to sift through almost 12 million documents, uncovering widespread corruption and investigations around the world. And Europol has also used sophisticated data analysis and worked with national law enforcement agencies to tackle cross-border financial crimes and money laundering, dismantling many criminals in networks involved in large-scale corruption. These examples show how modern technology and international cooperation can effectively fight globalized corruption. By sharing data and using advanced analytical tools, countries can work together to identify and take down complex corruption networks that span across borders. So now we come to the point where we can think of how technology can actually foster corruption. So far, we have looked at how technology can be a powerful ally in the fight against corruption, but it can also be a double-edged sword. While it can harness and promote transparency and accountability, it can also be exploited to facilitate corruption and other illicit activities. It is important to understand this dual nature because recognizing the potential downsides helps us to be more vigilant and proactive in addressing them. Just as we leverage technology to uncover and prevent corrupt practices, we must also be aware of how the same technology can be turned against us. So we're going to see in this part how technology can be used to foster and facilitate corrupt practices. And we're going to try to show some alternatives, or at least some points of where we can be more vigilant and to address those issues. So the first one we're going to see is cybercrime and hacking. Cybercrime involves criminal activities carried out using computers and the internet. This can include hacking into systems, stealing data, spreading malware, launching cyber attacks. But in the context of corruption, cybercrime is particularly relevant because it can be used to access sensitive information, manipulate data, and disrupt services, all of which can be exploited for corrupt purposes. Take the 2014 Sony Pictures hack, for example. The high-profile incident involving hackers breaking into Sony computer systems, stealing vast amounts of data, including unreleased films, confidential emails, and personal information about employees. The hackers then released this data publicly, causing massive disruption for Sony. While this hack wasn't primarily about financial gain, it highlighted the potential that hackers have to access and misuse sensitive information in governments, which can be a powerful tool for corruption, especially if we're talking about how they can access private information of citizens and actually manipulate this data. Hacker can manipulate or steal this data, disrupt services, or use ransomware to hold data hostage. Imagine a scenario where hackers break into a government database and alter public records. They could change land ownership, they can change documents, they can alter voting records, manipulate financial transactions. This can not only undermine the integrity of government operations, but also creates opportunities for corrupt individuals to exploit the chaos. Ransomware is another tool in the hacker's arsenal. By encrypting a victim's data and demanding payment to unlock it, hackers can extort money from individuals, governments, and businesses. So the disruption can cripple those services and force organizations and governments to pay up, often without any guarantee that their data will actually be restored because they are in control. Data breaches and unauthorized access to sensitive information are also serious risks. When hackers steal data, they can sell it on the dark web, use it for blackmail, or manipulate it for personal gain. For example, a hacker, by accessing government document or corporate financial records, can provide valuable insider trading information that can be exploited also for corruption, which is actually a corrupt practice. The second part that we're going to talk about now is dark web and cryptocurrencies, which involves a lot of money laundering most of the times. So dark web is a part of the internet that isn't indexed by traditional search engines. It requires a specific software like Tor to access. This hidden layer of the internet provides an anonymity to its users, which can be both a blessing and a curse. While it offers privacy for legitimate users, it also serves as a haven for illegal activities, including terrorism, drug trafficking, arms sales, and of course, corruption, which is in everything. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin play a significant role in this clandestine world. These digital currencies use cryptography for security, making transactions difficult to trace. So while cryptocurrencies may have legitimate users, they have their ability to provide anonymity, making them very attractive to criminals. One of the most infamous examples of an illegal marketplace is the Silk Road, founded in 2011, and was operated as an online black market where users could buy and sell illegal goods, services, and using Bitcoin. The marketplace thrived until it was shut down by the FBI in 2013, and the founder was arrested. But it highlighted how the dark web and cryptocurrencies can be used to facilitate a wide range of illegal activities, from drug trafficking to money laundering. So this anonymity can enable illicit transactions that are difficult to track, even though they can also be used for investigating, whistleblowing, etc. The decentralized nature of cryptocurrencies can also mean that there is no central authority to monitor or regulate these transactions, which adds another layer of complexity for law enforcement agencies. Money laundering through cryptocurrencies often involves a series of steps to obscure the origin of the funds. This might include converting the illicit money into cryptocurrency, transferring it across multiple accounts or wallets, and eventually converting it back into traditional currency. Each step is designed to make it harder to trace the money back to its original source. Now we're going to talk about the manipulation of digital systems. While incredibly beneficial, it can be manipulated by corrupt officials to their advantage. This manipulation can severely undermine democratic processes and erode public trust in institutions. Digital systems are integral to modern governments, managing everything from public records to election processes. However, these systems can be vulnerable to manipulation. Corrupt officials, hackers, and other malicious actors can exploit these vulnerabilities to alter the data. A significant example is the reports that indicated that foreign hackers targeted voters' registration databases in the US, in several states, attempting to alter or delete voter information. Even though there is no evidence that the actual votes were actually changed, and there isn't, the mere idea that this could be done, the mere chance that this could be done, the fear factor raised significant concerns and helped to put a cast on the voting system. This was a significant issue, and it still is, because it facilitates a narrative that the voting system is not secure, and also can help, just as it happened in Brazil, they tried to do the same in Brazil, can help foster a narrative where the loser side, can delegitimize the democratic institution and legitimize the democratic process, as it happened in Brazil. And in Brazil, it had actually went further, where this narrative tried to delegitimize the electronic system that is in Brazil, and this led to a coup attempt in January 8th, when the new president took charge of the country. So this is extremely problematic, just the chance of this happening. So the implications of such manipulations, as I said, are profound. In democratic societies, the integrity of elections is fundamental. When digital systems are comprised, it casts doubts on legitimacy of the process. Public trust is eroded as citizens lose confidence in the ability of their governments to conduct fair and transparent elections. But it goes beyond elections. Corrupt officials might alter public service database to grant benefits to underserving recipients, siphon funds through fraudulent records, or erase incriminating evidence from official database. This not only facilitates corruption, but also creates significant administrative challenges, as rectifying these manipulations often requires substantial time and resources. For instance, consider a scenario where healthcare records are manipulated to divert funds from legitimate patients to fake or non-existent individuals. This kind of corruption can deprive deserving patients of critical medical care and drain public resources. So understanding the mechanisms behind this manipulation is crucial, because digital systems are typically protected by layers of security measures, but this can be bypassed through sophisticated hacking techniques, insider threats, or simply human error. Once these systems are compromised, it can be challenging to detect or even correct the alterations, especially if the manipulations are subtle and well hidden. One of the that I think are one of the major issues with technology fighting corruption is the lack of regulation and oversight. Let's talk about how insufficient regulation in the tech industry can pave the way for corruption and misuse of technology. The tech sector is not only one of the most rapidly advancing fields, but also incredibly complex and often outpace the ability of policymakers to regulate it effectively. Furthermore, the tech industry is known for its powerful lobbying efforts to avoid regulations, creating significant gaps that can be exploited. When the tech industry advances faster than the regulatory frameworks designed to oversee it, it leaves a lot of room for misuse and corrupt practices. Without adequate regulation, companies can collect and use personal data without oversight, leading to violations of privacy and ethical standards. A prime example of this is the Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal. In this case, a political consulting firm, Cambridge Analytica, harvests the personal data of millions of Facebook users without their consent. This data was then used to influence voter behavior in various elections around the world. And the scandal exposed significant regulatory gaps in data protection and the oversight of how personal data is used by tech companies. The lack of regulation allowed tech companies to operate in ways that can be detrimental to public interest. For instance, without stringent data privacy laws, companies can gather vast amounts of personal information and use it for targeted advertising, political manipulation, or even sell it to third parties. This not only invades individual privacy, but it creates opportunities for corrupt practices. The mechanisms behind this are straightforward. When there is no oversight, companies are less likely to adhere to ethical standards and more likely to engage in practices that maximize profit at the expense of public good. For example, the use of algorithms to promote sensationalist content on social media can lead to the spread of misinformation, which can be exploited for political gain or even financial profit. Regulating rapidly evolving technologies poses significant challenges. Policymakers often struggle to keep up with the pace of innovation in the tech sector. Technologies such as artificial intelligence, blockchain are very complex and require specialized knowledge to understand and regulate effectively. Additionally, the global nature of the tech industry means that regulations in one country can be circumvented by operating in another with different laws. Moreover, the tech industry invests heavily in lobbying efforts to influence legislation in its favor, which can be resulted in watered down regulations that fail to address core issues. For example, the public outcry of privacy violations, comprehensive data protection laws are still lacking in many parts of the world. Finally, I want to talk about the fetishization of technology. We have to discuss the dangers of blindly trusting technology, a phenomenon known as fetishization of technology. This occurs when we view technological solutions as neutral or infallible, ignoring the biases and the ethical issues that they can harbor. One of the key dangers of this blind trust is the assumption that technology, simply by being advanced, is free from human error or prejudice. However, technology is created by humans and does reflect the biases and limitations of its creators. This can lead to significant problems when these biases are embedded in technological systems that are used for critical decisions. Over-reliance on technology can lead to complacency and the neglect of systemic issues. When we place too much trust in technological solutions, we might overlook the need for human oversight and critical thinking. This complacency can allow corrupt practices to go unnoticed and unchallenged. Moreover, it creates a false sense of security. We might believe that because we have advanced systems in place, our problems are solved. However, without understanding the limitations and potential flaws of these systems, we are at risk of being blindsided by their failures. It's important to remember that technology is not a panacea. Effective use of technology requires a balanced approach that includes human judgment and ethical considerations and ongoing vigilance. So, all that to say that technology is a powerful force that can both combat and facilitate corruption. From the incredible advancements in big data, AI, and blockchain that enhances transparency and accountability to the darker sides of cybercrime, dark web, money laundering, and digital manipulation. It's clear that technology impact on corruption is multifaceted. The key takeaway is that while technology offers tremendous potentials to fight corruption, it also requires careful regulation, ethical considerations, and constant vigilance to ensure it serves the public good. By staying informed, critical, and proactive, we can harness the power of technology to create a more transparent and equitable world. Thank you.